clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marte doesn't work for me. He's never worked for me. There's no relationship like that as far as any business relationship that I'm aware of between the Crucible and any firm of Marte's or Marte himself. So when you say extension of the Crucible,
that's what he has in his
what do you
bio.
mean by that?
That's what he has in his bio.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Well, let him give an accounting for it. Yeah, let him give an accounting for it. What does that mean?
Well, what this means is that when I fight on behalf of Christendom and my value system, and you're one of my best friends, and I'm also your coach as far as fitness stuff. So yeah, that's what I mean by that.
Okay.
So best friend and extension of his platform. Again, what did you mean the other day whenever you said things such as, if you fuck with me, you fuck with the Crucible, you fuck with Jake Rattlesnake, you fuck with Andrew Wilson? Because it sounds to me like Martae consistently puts him in a position where he's tethered to you guys.
I can explain.
That has nothing again to do with me.
I can actually explain this. So I stepped in for Jake.
I'm explaining why people are coming to your door and going, hey, why is this guy saying he's with you?
I can explain this. The reason why I said this is because if anybody needs me to step in on behalf of the Crucible, I'm there in a heartbeat. I stepped in for Jake. I'll step in for Rob Noor. I'll step in for Andrew Wilson. He stepped in for me when somebody didn't show up. So, by the way, we've got each other's backs. What's wrong with that? Like, I don't see any problem with this.
So am I guessing the whole thing is that Andrew Wilson is getting slammed for being with here we go, with Martae here, because Martae used to do corn videos, the self corn videos. So I'm guessing that Andrew's catching slack here, and I guess they're saying, well, hey, why are you with this guy? So I'm guessing that's what this debate is about.
Because your lifestyle is the antithesis of what these men talk about.
Correct.
Your OnlyFans is still active, and it was not 10 years ago, brother. It was. You were doing this up until 2022.
When was the last post, though?
Yeah, when was the last time I posted?
Yeah, so
when was the last time I posted any content?
According to the metadata that my people pulled, you were active on that OnlyFans account on the 16th of this last month.
That's not even true. Wasn't even active then. Do you know how many times my accounts attempt to be active as far as somebody breaking in? I get these notifications that you get. Somebody has attempted to hack your profile.
Why don't you delete the account then?
Why don't you delete your GoFundMe, buddy? Raylan, why don't you delete your GoFundMe?
I thought other people weren't talking.
Yeah.
Hang on. Don't jump in, dude. Let him have his exchange. I want to hear what he's saying.
Good Lord. No self-control. Why don't you delete the account? Why don't you delete the OnlyFans?
So the account was deleted earlier today, this morning, when actually Meyer brought it up. Yeah, of course. But here's the thing, though. I wasn't active.
I'm glad that we could affect change.
Raylan, can I at least speak without being interrupted? I haven't posted on that account in years. It's been years since I've been in the industry, since I've posted anything. And here's the problem that I have. You're accusing me of being gay or doing anything gay. All I've done was solo content that was sold to sites.
Men.
How do I know it was supposed to be sold to whoever? I don't have any control over that. Once I sign a contract,
ass out of your jeans, dude. Who's that for?
It's for everybody.
Yeah, but Raylan, my understanding of the fitness industry, this is my understanding from talking to a bunch of the different dudes who are in it, is that it's very, very common. You see this with women too. They do the bikini and shit like that. The whole idea is to be as provocative as possible. They thrive on that in that industry. Now, is that shit degenerate as fuck? Yeah, I totally agree it is, right? But if it's the case that this guy left that behind years ago, if that's the case, that's where I don't understand the criticism. Like, okay, so this guy did solo content years ago. All right, he's a bodybuilder. Makes sense why he would move in that direction. I understand all that. Same as women who sell their ass. I at least understand it, right? But they move away from that stuff, and they're not doing any sort of grift. They're not selling their Christian courses and bullshit like that. Isn't that the outcome you want? Like, isn't the outcome you want that they move away from that shit?
I mean, sure, but does that mean that they then should go and try to build out a platform speaking from a Christian perspective and judging others? Especially people that are doing the same thing that he did.
Yeah, I mean, well, wait.
But he's not coming from an honest perspective either.
Yeah.
People went and
but
found
that's the
this. He didn't
same
come right out and
argument.
say it.
That's the same argument. I think he did actually, but that's the same argument that I hear from the sewing circle Christians, that if you've ever done anything wrong in your life, you're now uniquely unqualified to ever speak about it. When I think the opposite is true. If you've done wrong things in your life, that almost somewhat makes you uniquely qualified to speak about it. The question is like, look, if you guys were like, look, this guy was sucking dicks and banging butts, okay, I'd be like, okay, he's a sword swallower. That would be the end of that, right? That would be the end of that. But if the case is that he was doing some kind of solo content with pictures on his OF, he wasn't doing anything with men at all, and he moved away from that damn near a decade ago, I am really confused about what the criticism is here, because half of the Crucible audience, as you know, are a bunch of former degenerates. They were, I mean, they were all humping, humping all the women. They were all out man whoring, basically. Like that's very common in this audience base, man.
Again, it was
for
just
people who
3
reformed
years
from
ago.
their early 20s.
His most recent posts were from just 3 years ago. Whenever,
I mean, again, too, it's like I know Martae, he's repenting. He's not doing it anymore, and he's repenting. And so we do teach forgiveness, and we do teach that there are second chances. If you ask for the Lord for forgiveness, he will forgive. Now, if Martae was still doing that stuff, well, then yeah, I could see the criticism. But if he's repenting, he's asked the Lord for forgiveness. If he's now changed his ways, I don't see what the issue is. And it's not like as Andrew brought up, like with what's her face, forgetting her name, Nyla, or Nayla, what the hell are Nala Rose. It's not like her where she's starting to sell where she started to sell Christian courses and stuff like that. Martae's not selling Christian courses and such. That's the difference there.
he had these accounts active.
But what were they? But what were they of? Were they of hardcore gay? Or were they just pictures of this guy flexing and shit?
Apparently, he was doing cam shows. Apparently, he was posing nude. He was doing nude modeling. And then on top of that, he had an entire webpage open where you could book a date. It said his orientation was bisexual.
So
we talked to a friend of ours. We talked to a friend of ours that's apparently very into escorts, and he said that is escort code language. Quote unquote, book a date.
So Raylan,
additionally, some of the women in our group again dug deep. And
bro,
they found
you're not a
video
credible resource,
so
bro.
Raylan,
you do
Raylan, can I
GoFundMe.
address these accusations?
Why are
You're
you
a
speaking?
GoFundMe scammer, bro.
Why are you speaking?
Tom,
hold on. Hang on. Let him make his case.
Hold on,
first.
Raylan. Can I at least address these allegations? Can I address these allegations?
Hang on, but let him. Hang on. Golly, you calm down. Martae, you'll get a chance to address the allegation. Let him finish it.
And some of these women dug deep and they found videos of you performing acts with other men. I didn't see them. I don't want to see them. But these are from trusted sources. I do not want to see the videos. I'm not a homosexual.
All right, go ahead, Martae.
Okay, so there are no videos. The reason why I know that there's no videos that exist is because I've never done anything with any other guys. I'm confidently aware, and I know that I've never done anything. I could put this on Bible, God, anything else. So here's the other thing, though, is I was unaware that I'm on escort sites where that people do this. Would you believe that people make fallacious accounts from me, a pro athlete and somebody who's been a public figure? I've been having accusations and false claims against me in private rooms and everything else. Would you believe it if somebody made up another account of me that's also fake? Oh, I've discovered 7 different fake accounts of me the whole time this year. This happens often. So when you tell me things like there's an account of me showing up on some escort site, I didn't know about. Where's my money for this? If I'm actually on a site, where's this ever happening? Where's the money? I didn't put any of this stuff up. So surely somebody's cosplaying as me, because that's never been with me specifically. Now, this can happen all the time. It happens frequently in the industry, especially with athletes. So I've never once been an escort in my life. There's no videos up there that circulates of me sucking dick or taking anything. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I honestly have never done anything with a guy in my life. And not to mention this, so back to this, all these escort sites that show up, I didn't have any control over where this content went once I made it. All I did was sign a check, left the studio, had all the rights to this other stuff, signed the rights over to my images, everything else. I was just chasing money, being stupid at the time. That's it.
So you admit that you were chasing dollar bills and you sold your ass online for money. How are we supposed to know that you're not doing the same thing right now?
Because evidence, if you can prove.
Because of what evidence?
A video. You said there's videos. I don't see them.
You just admitted yourself.
Well, hang on, Rylan.
You sold your ass online.
Hang on.
How do we know you're being honest about this? How do we know you're not selling yourself again?
You asked him. Hang on. You asked him a question. Let him respond, Rylan. Go ahead, man.
So when you're saying that I sold my ass, what do you mean by selling my ass?
Pictures of your ass are plastered all over the internet, brother. You sold your ass for money. You just said it. You just said you signed the checks, you received the checks, and you had no control over where the photos went. That's your claim. You admitted that you sold your ass for money. So
yes,
how do we know
when
that
you
you're being
lift weights
now?
So when you lift weights, you're able to get...
Bro, it's between them. It's between them. Stop interjecting, dude. Let them.
No self-control.
So Raylan, I'll respond to this. This is something that I've made known a year ago. Matter of fact, 3 years ago, the guy who's interrupting Uncle Tom, he knows that I've told everybody else that I've been in the industry. Obviously, there's evidence of me posing online, right? Chest out, ass out, all these other things out. It's like, yes, we already know that. You're not telling me anything new that implicates me as being a gay individual.
You lied about it. You continue to lie.
When did I lie about this?
The goalpost.
Well,
you said that.
Well, now hang on. Now we're getting.
You said that none of this stuff existed. No one.
I never said that.
Oh no. Hang on, Rylan. I'm going off of just the evidence you're presenting right now. So the evidence. Here's the evidence that I have in front of me. The evidence I have in front of me is that years ago, Marte had an OF. And he was a bodybuilder and he was selling his body online. Totally agree. That's indisputable. Okay. Nobody's disputing it whatsoever. I 100% agree. The evidence not only proves this, right? But I've heard Martae speak about it before. I think pretty close to a year ago, in fact. Okay. So, so I know that he was involved in that industry. I get it. Here's the rub though. There's other allegations you're making here that you haven't demonstrated.
Yeah.
And though that's where I have an issue. So
which ones are we talking
let's
about?
start with the first body. Yeah. So let's start with the first body of evidence. If it's the case that Martae was an escort, right, and that was something that he was doing, and not something rather that was posted to a site or something that he had no control over, then I would expect that maybe there would be a John somewhere who would come out and say, hey, I was with this guy, show some proof of it, something like this. None of that. You claim that he was involved in gay video pornography, but you say, I can't produce it, but take my word for it, other women saw it. Now, these are some pretty radical claims. Hang on, Rylan. Let me finish, Rylan, let me finish.
I'm unwilling to post it on my own account.
All right, yeah, let me
gay
finish.
Pornography.
If this is the case, right? If this is the case that this is actually true, then yeah, that would mean that Marte is completely lying, and he was actually involved in gay pornography. That changes things, because then yes, he would be a liar. Do you have that evidence or not?
What evidence that we have that we're willing to post? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I did not want to see all of the deluge of shit that I was being told about, because it's degenerate. I'm not a homosexual. What we do have, I have pinned up in the nest. Martae has been intermittently removing it throughout the course of the space, but you can look right up there and see for yourself.
I'll leave it up. I'm not going to remove it.
Now, additionally, Andrew.
Yeah, does it show him engaging in sexual acts with men or not?
I can reach out to the women and I can see if they want to post it. I am not posting gay pornography on my page. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but you see how you're making?
Well, no, you guys are making it.
How that creates?
You guys are making it.
That creates an unfalsifiable claim.
So
that makes
the
an
only way that you'll accept
it's like, I've got it, but I'm not going to show it to anybody.
Well, no,
like, what?
I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it. So what you're telling me is that the only evidence that you'll accept is a smoking cock, so to speak, rather than a smoking gun.
No, the only evidence that I'll accept that he engaged in video gay porn is that you have evidence that he engaged.
Yes,
in video porn. Yes,
a smoking cock. Yes.
As it as it turns out, yes, when you make an accusation, I do demand the evidence. And if you make the accusation that this guy is lying to me
Look up in
and
the
was actually involved in video game, and it was actually involved in video game, I'm looking at it. It doesn't show video game.
What basically what we're doing here is we're splitting hairs. Even though he
What?
has a
No, we're not splitting.
No,
No. Yeah, no. You made a very specific claim that he was a fan of playing the skin flute, if you will. He was playing the skin flute in these videos. That's a very specific claim. It's not splitting hairs. You can't say he's playing the skin flute, but it turns out, oh well, he was just by himself. You can't do that.
No,
saying that he
you're
was
not
a gay
splitting,
porn
bro.
star or a gay escort, and he has an OnlyFans and all of these other things, unless we are willing to produce
Andrew.
a gay pornographic video, you're unwilling to accept anything else.
Andrew, can I for a second?
Well, wait,
Andrew.
hang on. How many? Did I not concede that the OF is obviously true? Did I not concede it was obvious that he was doing this degenerate shit?
He took it
Didn't
down
I?
today,
Didn't. But hang on, I conceded all those points. You conceded, yes, that you're happy that he's moved away from that. You haven't produced any evidence of any grifting. What is he selling that's Christ related in order to advance the ministry? And what blessing does he have to have one? You haven't shown any of that. And you also make this further allegation that he's a homosexual man, right? If that's the case, yeah, I want the evidence, bro.
Up there
yes,
in the top, his profiles list him as bisexual.
Yeah, but
Didn't they already talk about that?
Can you prove that he was the one who posted?
I didn't put any of that up, Raylan. That was not.
Yeah, Martae already said that I didn't create these dating profiles or whatever it is. So what is he talking about?
Me. So I mean, I was actually not aware of that.
The proof I have that you're a gay homosexual man is you took nude photos of your ass and put them on the internet.
That's it. That's your proof.
That's all I need, brother.
So
that's all I need, brother.
So is Arnold Schwarzenegger a homosexual man?
Did he post gay pictures of his ass on the internet?
Well, I think his ass.
Well, what makes posting your buttocks online? What makes that gay in itself? You know what I mean? What makes that gay in itself? That's not. Is it the way that you pose? What is it? You know, there could be women that like looking at man's buttocks. Why does it only have to be the gay men, huh?
Over the internet,
yeah. He's a gay homosexual
for sure. Okay, well then, if that's the merit of you gay, the merit of me being gay isn't that you're a bodybuilder and you posed nude and it ended up on gay websites because people put it there. Gay would be you engage in homosexual activity with men. That would be gay, or sexual activity of some kind.
Well, apparently he also did cam shows, and he was advertising those as well.
Yeah, I did cam shows 10 years ago. You're right.
Yeah, no, not 10 years ago. It was up to 3 years ago.
This is about 10 years ago.
3 years ago. But you were doing cam shows. You were doing cam shows for who, Marte?
So I didn't do cam shows on OF. That's false. Blatantly false. I never did cam shows on
You did it on other websites, and you were doing these gay cam shows for who, Marte?
No, so here's the problem. I didn't do gay cam shows or any cam shows 3 years ago. So what happens is producers put up delayed content that you put up probably years ago because they know you're going to exit the industry. So they hold on to it, and then they slowly produce this like it's slow ammunition. That's how studios work.
You just said that you did cam shows.
Yeah.
Who did you do
over 10 years ago?
For?
Color Flash Studios in Miami.
Color Flash Studios meaning what?
Color Flash Studios shoots hip hop videos, content, everything else.
And
they're universal.
So these Color Flash Studios were getting
it's
do
Color Flash Studios.
Cam shows for who, Marte? Gay men.
No, it wasn't exclusively for gay men. I shot the footage.
For gay men, brother.
So no, you can't prove that. So here's the thing: I did footage for a studio. Never asked where it was going to go. Got a check 10 years ago and bounced.
Yeah, so you sold your ass for money. Once again, you admit it. You did
something people know for like a whole year.
But Rylan, that's not in dispute.
Yeah.
Well, he was just disputing it. He just said so many words to try to circle
No, he
around.
gave you an accounting, but it's not in dispute that this guy 10 years ago did a bunch of degenerate.
Not to mention virtually no man qualified.
Hang on, nobody's disputing that. I'm not disputing it. My question is this: one, you want him to not do that, right, and move away from that?
Yes. But I also think that he shouldn't be trying to credentialize himself, hide this shit, and then try to build a faith-based platform.
I've never.
What's the credentialization? What's the credentialization?
What do you mean? He's credentializing himself as a Christian, and he's going around and he's arguing with women online. And he's arguing with women online. Whenever he did the same shit, and he hides it.
I don't hide it.
Come out.
He does not.
None of this would have come out.
None of this is being hidden. Wait, I don't hide any of this.
None of it was hidden. The OnlyFans today.
Yeah, I'm allowed to take it down today because I found out about this. So Raylan,
you didn't just find out
Raylan,
about
this is a forgotten, defunct account that I haven't used it. Raylan, can I talk real quick?
About it because you had the login information to be able to go on it and shut it down.
Raylan, can I respond to these accusations? So when Andrew Meyer brought up the OF account, it reminded me, can you prove that I'm lying? Andrew Meyer brought it up today, did he not?
The fact that you just took it down today.
Dude.
So are you going to let me actually respond? Or are you going to interrupt every time I respond to something?
And go ahead, lie more.
Okay. Once again, you're accusing me of something that I'm not doing, which you can't prove. By the way, today he posted about me having an OF account, which reminded me that I had an OF account that, mind you, I haven't produced content on in many, many years. It's been inactive. I shut it down today because that reminded me of this. I was like, I might as well get rid of this. The reason why I never deleted it is because I just did away with it and just left. I didn't delete anything because I didn't use it. I never used this in years.
Because you didn't get called out about it until now. And that's why you just deleted it.
Well, Martae, did you receive? Hang on, did you receive any pay?
It's
in the years that you left. You received any
not
pay?
A dime.
$32 a month for how
so
long?
Then it's. Well, you would have to demonstrate that he got pay. The thing is like, the accusations that you have, you're blending the new with the old, right? You keep on bringing up things that we've established. Okay, we've established that there was an OF account. We've established that this dude was doing degenerate shit on it, that he doesn't even deny. That's all established. The question is this: when you take it that next step where you're like, he was sucking dick and he was dudes and blah blah blah, and there's gay video, that moves into slander territory if it's not true. Okay, if it's not true, then you're slandering somebody. For what purpose here? Who gives a shit if he goes and argues with OF girls from a Christian view? So what? Good. I'm glad he's doing that. Why is that a problem?
But why doesn't
that has nothing to do with Nala? That has nothing to do with Nala Ray, who's selling false ministry courses, and me telling her that I'm not going to accept any of her ministry. And if these OF girls tell Martae, well, you're in the industry, so I'm not going to accept what you say. Okay, fine. But I think it's good that he's arguing against these people.
Why doesn't he lead with it? It's because nobody would listen to him. Nobody would pay attention to him.
Well, hold on. Hang on. I want you to think. Hang on, Raylan. I want you to tell me right now, honestly, that you lead every conversation.
Yeah.
The worst thing you've ever done.
Exactly.
Go ahead and lie to me.
What? How is that the same thing? I'm
asking you. Do you lead every conversation?
As a false equivalency.
No, it's not. It's a good point because do you lead every conversation with, hey, hey, I don't want you doing this, or I don't think it's good that we are doing this as a society. By the way, I did this, hey, I did that. I used to be a hardcore drug user. Like, do you lead every time? Like, it could come out in the conversation, but like it could come out, but you don't start off with that. Why would Martae start off with, by the way, before we begin this, I used to do OF. Okay, now let's begin. Why would you do that? And by the way, too, I don't see nothing wrong with Martae even using that in debate. I think that would be good for Martae's experience when he's arguing with these OF girls and these OF girls are saying this or that. Martae actually has some experience. He's actually dealt with some of these people in the industry. And so I think the fact that he was in it and then he got out, I think it actually goes in Martae's favor that he's talking from experience, how exploited the industry is, how dark the industry is, how you could fall into this stuff. I think it would actually help Martae more and not hurt Martae more. At worst, they're going to be like, well, you're a hypocrite. But that doesn't make Martae's points wrong. And Martae says, don't do OF. It wouldn't make him wrong. Just because he used to do it, does that mean he's wrong about doing OF? That actually, no, it's okay to do OF because he used to do it and therefore?
How?
Because
How is it a false equivalency?
I don't go into debates against people who are guilty of the same thing that I was guilty of, and then speak from them from a moral high ground.
Well, wait a second. You're making an appeal to hypocrisy here.
I'm not making
the thing
an appeal
is, though,
to
is that
hypocrisy. I'm pointing out.
Yeah,
hypocrisy.
in order to be a hypocrite, you have to demonstrate that Marte doesn't believe what he's saying.
How do we?
So it's one thing to be
does?
like, exactly. That's why you don't make an appeal to hypocrisy.
No, I'm pointing
is what he's saying
out
true or
hypocrisy.
isn't it true?
I'm pointing out his hypocrisy.
There's no hypocrisy. Hypocrisy isn't two fat guys on a treadmill, and the other one fat guy looks at the other one and says, "You're fat." That's not being hypocritical. The fat guy in the treadmill's right. The other guy is fat. There's no hypocrisy there.
Why?
The hypocrisy would be
if the guy. It
would be that's
past. Why does he not lead with that?
How is he hiding it? He's having a public forum about it right this second.
Because he got called out about it by Andrew Meyer.
No, I've done this in the past.
I knew about it a year, bro. I knew about it a year ago. He's talked about it publicly in debates. That's how I knew about it.
Good Lord.
What are you talking about? He's talked about it publicly in debates. That's how I found out about it to begin with. He said he was in the industry.
That's incredible stuff.
How would you like it if we believed, if Andrew Wilson believed the GoFundMe scam you did? No, the GoFundMe scam you did, Raylan. How would you feel if we looked at the evidence on that? How would you? But it's in the nest. It was a scam that you.
There was no scam.
Right, exactly. But you have
Look, I'm not here. Look, I'm not here to quote. Okay, I'm not here to say. What about you, Raylan? Okay.
Well, no, it's just
no. It's the same logic about the evidence.
He's on offense.
Same logic about having evidence.
Yeah, he's on offense.
Uncle Tom is a non-American lying cancer patient who has nothing to live for.
Okay, well, look, I don't know anything about this, and I don't care. It's irrelevant.
I agree.
What's relevant is this. I don't turn my back on my friends unless I have compelling evidence to do so. What you presented to me is not compelling evidence. Sorry. Okay.
Most people
I already knew that there was this OF stuff that happened years ago, and that he moved away from it years ago. I knew all that. He's been very public about it. I knew it. Now, if you have compelling evidence that he's engaged in carnal knowledge with a dude, then that would mean he's a liar, and that would definitely change the nature of our relationship very quickly.
Exactly.
But him moving away from him, but hang on, Raylan, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
But him moving away from degeneracy, and your only criticism is that he debates from a supposed morally high ground, is pretty weak.
No, I'm pointing out
he has a moral high ground. That's not hypocrisy.
He did.
If he's a former sex worker and tells a current sex worker she's wrong, how's that hypocritical?
Yeah.
How
does he lead with the fact that he's a former sex worker while he criticizes her?
Well, he doesn't need to. It's not intrinsic or valuable to any argument. It's not dishonest. It's not valuable to the argument. How is it valuable to the argument?
How do you mean it's not? If anything, him credentializing with the fact that he is a former gay porn star opens up a whole new world of discussions for him to have with his women.
Raylan, I've done debates with
all
these people without having to bring it up.
Making my point.
I'm making my own point, but he hides it. Why? Because he's ashamed.
I don't hide it, Raylan. I've destroyed these people without having to use my past. How am I winning debates against OF people without having to bring my past up?
Winning is debatable.
Okay, so when I look at polls, audiences, and everybody else, when it's overwhelmingly evident that the person got destroyed, right? And then not to mention that, I can show me one debate with an OF worker I've had where I've been blown out. I'll wait. I'll honestly wait. I've never had to bring up my past to win a debate.
I really don't want to talk about you getting blown out, but I appreciate it.
So great. You have things that don't even make sense right now. I'm not talking about that. Right now, I'm talking about debates that I've lost. Right? Can you show me a debate with an OF worker where I've lost, oh shit, now you could justify your claim about me having to bring up my past. I've never had to bring up my past to win a debate. Why would I do that now? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm literally destroying your worldview.
Any debate that you've ever lost has been a debate with an OF worker because you were on OF.
How? That doesn't make any sense because I never brought up me being on an OF to win a debate.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
How are these things?
No, it makes sense.
These things pertinent to an argument? How are they pertinent to an argument? who cares? Like who if the guy if and this would be the same with two sex workers. You have one who's a former sex worker, one who isn't. Former sex worker, doesn't matter, male, female, whatever, tells current sex worker, what you're doing is bad. Current sex worker says, well, you did it too. That's a tu quoque. It doesn't mean anything. It's a complete irrelevant, fallacious argument. It has nothing to do with what they're arguing, whether the thing is good or bad. That was the case. If you ever did drugs, you could never tell a person they can't do drugs. Doesn't that sound retarded?
No, because all the people who ever did drugs lead with the fact that they're a drug addict. Have you ever seen an AA meeting?
No, you don't. No, they don't.
Alcoholics Anonymous. Yes, they do.
No, they don't need. They don't have to.
Circle and they say, "Hi, I'm Stacy, and I'm an addict."
Oh my God, dude! Listen, you don't have to lead.
They literally
your whole. If you're okay, whatever, dude. If your entire criticism is that Marte just needs to lead with "Once upon a time he did OF" in order to have a debate, then you've lost the plot, dude.
Not really, because whenever we're arguing from a standpoint of a moral high ground, right? When we're arguing for conservatism and we regularly platform homosexual and degenerate trash people, it disenfranchises.
It's not. Listen, so that guy Raylan, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And clearly it is like out of a jealousy, if you will. Like if you really want to argue about conservatism, then it's clear that you don't really know what it's about. Okay. Yeah. If Martae was currently doing these things, so let's say he was living a certain life, then he found out behind the scenes he was actually doing with these things. He was actually playing the skin flute. He was still selling videos of himself online. Then you would have an argument here. But these are things that Marte has come clean about, that he's talked about, that were in his past that he's not doing anymore. How does that make him hypocritical? The fact of the matter is that he used to be a degenerate and now he's not. And now he's arguing that people that are continuing to be degenerates, I don't understand what's wrong with that. And this guy's saying, well, he needs to lead off with that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why would he need to lead off with that? There's no good reason why he needs to put a disclaimer out there first as to why that he used to be an OF guy. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like this guy is just either jealous or something. He's trying to find any reason to go after Marte for whatever reason, because he's a hater. Like if you're a Christian and if you're a conservative and stuff, you would understand that we all have our pasts. We all have done things that we're not proud of. Do you keep doing it? Okay. That's the thing. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand about God's forgiveness and repentance. You don't really understand any of that. Okay. Not saying you could do whatever you want, just be like, oh, I'm sorry, God, and then that's it. Like, no, but you could learn from your behavior, stop doing it, change your lifestyle, give your life up to God, and lead a different life. It doesn't make you a bad person or a hypocrite or anything like that. And so when people clutch their pearls and do these things, that's where this whole notion of, he who is without sin cast the first stone, that's where it comes from, is because of people like this who want to cast the first stone. But going back to Marte, again, I don't think this hurts them, really. Again, if he's had experience doing this, it is exactly like someone who used to be a drug addict or an alcoholic or something coming out and saying, hey, don't drink, these are the dangers here. Hey, don't do drugs, these are the dangers here. He's coming from experience. It doesn't make him a hypocrite. It doesn't make him wrong. It's like your parents telling you, hey, don't smoke. And if you used to smoke or if you do all these things, it doesn't make you a hypocrite to tell your kids don't smoke. And it doesn't make the parent wrong in their point. It has nothing to do with their point. So these are all things to keep in mind. Good job on Andrew and Marte. Good job on Marte coming clean and addressing these allegations and not trying to cover it up. Good on Andrew for defending his friend Marte. If you want to listen to the whole debate, there's more of this debate. I have the link down in the description down below. You could find this on What About My Argument channel, and you could also find it on Marte's channel. Please subscribe to them both. Also subscribe to the Crucible as well. And if you like this video, give this video a like, leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and subscribe to my channel as well. And also make sure to listen to the Cool Stream Live Mondays through Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time.